Are we good? All right. Hey guys, welcome to today's live episode of Talking About It. I am joined tonight with my friend Eddie Poshman and also my producer Mike Tipton. And today we will be discussing just a open conversation about mental health. Mental Health Awareness Month is May. I personally feel like it should be more than 1 month, but hey, since we've got the spotlight on it for this month, let's just go and hit it all points. So if this is your first time tuning in to us, thank you for joining us. But yeah, put in your questions. Mike, is it like in the comments?
Yeah, they can comment. We're live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So we're all over the place, and those are on the Talking About It Instagram and YouTube pages.
Yeah, got it. So if you guys have questions, make sure you put them in. And Eddie, thank you for coming on today. You're East Coast, so I know it's a little bit later for you. So I know you probably had a long day, and thank you for hopping in with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. It's not too late, but it's fine. It's okay.
For me, 8 o'clock now, I'm like, all right, in bed sometime. I just recently, just as a kickoff to like mental health and what you do to like decompress, I guess I'll start there. Like I started getting into old Matlock episodes and yeah,
Yeah,
dude, and
it's pretty good.
Paramount Paramount Plus has some really good like old shows. So I've been like on a
Yeah.
Matlock kick, Love Boat kick. Yeah, so that just
I've
helps
been
me.
I've personally been doing I've been doing Seinfeld and Frasier. Those are my two huge ones. Especially Frasier. I just like like that's just you know after a very horrible day, I'm like I need a little bit of the Eddie the dog in my life. So yeah.
Yeah, Frasier is one that I'll fall asleep to. I prefer like
Yeah.
seasons 1 through 3. Like I feel like those were the best.
Those are good,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but they're hilarious. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do to decompress is. And I think that a lot of people nowadays with binge watching, and I've kind of read here that it is a comfort to people. So they'll binge watch the same shows specifically for that reason because you can like decompress. It's familiar. And
Oh,
yeah,
I absolutely agree. I do that. Me and my wife actually do that with The Office. The Office is a big one. The Office is like it's like comfort food. It's we know it in and out. We've seen it a billion times, but it's just like that one. It always fits right. The other one is 30 Rock. 30 Rock. I don't know if you've all seen 30 Rock, but it's one of those ones where it's just like all. I'm a big sitcom guy, and it, the writers were just writing jokes. They were just writing jokes, and they were just out there, out there, out there. And yeah, it's like comfort food. It does help. It does after a bad day. It does help.
for sure. And we definitely need those comfort moments in these times. But so one of the things that I wanted to talk about and Mike and Eddie and kind of get your views on it is men and mental health. Because I was reading statistics and it's something like 1 in 5 men deal with a mental health condition. And I feel like more people are starting to speak about it. But I wanted to kind of get you guys into a conversation and just hear you going back and forth on your thoughts on it, how it can be improved, and what men can do to kind of not get courage, but kind of get courage and know that it's okay, normalize that it's okay to have a conversation about men's health.
Yeah, if you want to start, Mike,
Okay,
I'll.
so whenever you say 1 in 5, I think that's a super low number. I think it's like I'd say like 50%, right? Like it's got to be more than just 1 in 5. But I think that's what it comes down to is breaking the stigma of like I got to go ask for help. I've got to be willing to accept that I need help. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because for the longest time, I kind of knew that I had stuff going on, And me being a veteran, it's as simple as, call the VA, let's start making appointments. Like all that stuff is free for me. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do it. I don't have to, coming up with a million excuses. So with me, it was I had to get up off my own ass and make sure I was doing it for myself, not for anything else, but for myself, to make sure that my mental health was taken care of. Because I've been out of the Air Force now for 13 years. It'll be 13 years in September. And from the moment I got out, like I was diagnosed PTSD, a whole bunch of stuff like that. And I never took medication to take care of it for 13 years. So just trying to deal with it, and, a lot of alcohol, a lot of other recreational activities and things like that we might be doing was my way of trying to cope with it, as opposed to just being like, you know what, let's go to therapy. Like, let's talk about this stuff, because men aren't supposed to go to therapy and like all that
Yeah.
stuff. We've got to break that, man. We've got to break that.
And that's a big thing. I think that well, especially like in the Mexican American community, or being brought up in that we're not supposed to talk. But you're supposed to just be a man and just don't worry about it. Like that's something that the women deal with, and it's like, well, no, um, and as a young kid myself, I wasn't in the service or anything, but like I lost my dad when I was 13, and that kind of like really shifted everything for me. And I'm like, wait a second, like I probably need help. I didn't get it until 10, maybe no, sorry, 5-ish years ago. 5 years ago. That's how long it took. But it was because it was scary for me to try and even look and find a therapist. That was part of the struggle. Was I'm like, where do I even start? There's no like help for men, especially like I was lucky enough to have a colleague, another boy, that was able to, because he was going through trying to find a therapist years before. He was kind of like my guide, but not all of us had that, and that's tough. And I think that there should be more, more awareness, more openness, especially for us men to talk to each other about this kind of stuff. Yeah, especially you, PTSD. I mean, that's insane. That's tough. That's really serious.
And that's what it comes down to too, is like having the right group of people, and like obviously knowing the right time, right? Because like you can be out with your
Yeah.
boys and you got that one friend that's always like,
Right.
oh man, I'm just so sad right now. It's like,
Yeah.
man, we're just having a good time drinking tequila.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now it's probably not the best time to be
Yeah.
talking about it,
Right.
but if we need to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys, that's the only atmosphere where they're going
Yeah.
to feel comfortable,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, I was so fucked up or whatever, like all that stuff. And to me it's like, okay, that's fine if that's your way of coping with it, but you need to come up with a more healthy strategy of dealing with it, right? Because
Well put. Yeah.
that's the main thing. And then like, having a different friend group that you can rely upon, that you can say, maybe these people will actually listen to me, like coming up with, different friend groups. Because if you feel like you have to be drunk or under the influence to be able to talk to your friends, then I don't know if those are actual valued friends.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And my therapist has actually told me that verbatim. Like if if you all have to be under the influence like that for these actual like real emotions to be coming out, then you need to figure something else out. And that's the thing, is that like uh, at my advanced age, I don't really have. I'm not really out there. I'm not really
I'm
out
the
there in my 40s. I'm not really out there like, oh, I used to be in my 30s, where I know what you're saying. Like where like something's starting to come out and you're like trying to trust people, and then it's like, oh, I'm so, and you're apologizing afterwards, like, oh, I was drunk, but like real true emotions are coming out. And then, but as a man or a boy or whatever, it's not allowed. Usually it's like, well, stuff that back in, and then you're kind of just left with these problems that come up in society, like, I don't know, men lashing out in wrong ways, from like road rage to mass shootings. I mean, it's like it goes that far out, you know. Um, yeah,
And also trying to, I feel like, find places where they belong. And I feel
yeah,
like that kind
yeah,
of leads into a little bit more of like the political area that we're in today, right? Where it's like you're trying to find a place to fit in. You're trying to find a place who people share these same thoughts and everything. And if you're not finding that in the close circles that you guys are talking about, these safe relationships, then you're going to find it outside of it. And I feel like what's happening now is they're starting to find it in these political realms, which is just totally changing the scope of, I don't know, it's just like gang behavior kind of. I don't know how to
no, and you're right. No,
you know what I'm
because
saying?
it is that same kind of thing where you know, a lot of these kids back in the day were like trying to find family or like, you know, that like camaraderie would join gangs. But you know, it's the kind of same thing that's happening with MAGA right now. I mean, like what's happening with you know, all of this upheaval. You know, these men that feel, you know, that they're slighted in any way, and it's it used to be gang members, you know, when we were growing up, Ashley, and now
Yeah.
it's MAGA. And I'm seeing it in the street. You know, I live here right next to the White House, and it is very unsettling to see. You know, they have like these high school tours, you know, close to the White House, and all of these young boys are like 14, 15, have these, you know, these MAGA hats, you know, the red MAGA hats. And it's not all of them. It's like it's a few of them, but it's like only boys.
Mm.
You never see a girl wearing that, you know.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is more about like they're trying to fit in. They're trying to find that like, yeah, that like group of you know, yeah, it's like a gang. It's a gang slash cult.
Yeah.
And Trump really figured out how to like tune into that. And you know, uh,
It's to me, it's along the lines of like I have a lot of background in psychology, right? So like I try to look at things from a different angle. And to me, what it looks like is like that inferiority complex.
yeah,
How many
yeah,
times did you want someone whenever you were younger just to be like, no, you're right, you're validated, you're this, you're that? Like those feelings you have are completely true. Like you're right to have these feelings. Now that's being expounded by, okay, it's okay to be a little racist because it's not
yeah.
racist if you're trying to be funny,
No,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. It's not
Yeah.
racist if there's a whole group of people that agree with you on this, and now we've got 80 million people that think this specific way, right? And as we get older, we become adults. It's become a thing of, it's almost like meme culture, right? Of like, I just want to prove to you that I'm right, and I'll
Yes.
do
Yeah.
it any way
Yeah.
that I can. And I see all these people. Like recently, there was a person on Facebook who posted up that they put a flagpole in their front yard, and it was the first time they were so proud to announce that they were an American. And I sit here and I think to myself, okay, well, you didn't serve, so I guess that's one reason as to why. But secondarily, should it come and go? Should it ebb and flow? Like you're proud to be an
Yeah.
American today because like of all days the stock market was like at its lowest. Like this is the day that we're the
Yeah.
proudest to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This day. Yeah. Of all
Yeah.
days. Yeah. Yeah.
And like to brag about it and just be like, well, I was right. Like the person I voted for, they won. Well, dude, 50% of the country is going to feel that way.
Right.
That's best case scenario. 51 to 49% is going to feel whatever way you're feeling. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not like a unique to you thing. And all these people think that, you know, being edgy and being MAGA and all that stuff
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
super unique. It's not.
It's
It's
not.
cookie cutter now.
I
Yeah.
think I think that I think that that had a big thing as well, is like uh is just very reactive. That the whole, of course we've got our political system, you've got your Democrats, Republicans, and then now you've got like a whole subsection of MAGA Republicans. And for them, it's all about reactiveness. It's all about getting a reaction out of you. Doesn't matter
It's
what
true.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike and I talk a lot about the wrestling mentality, and it's like it doesn't matter if you're the
Yeah.
heel, or it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're the baby face, as long as they're talking about you and they're booing for you or
Yeah.
they're cheering for
Yeah.
you, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like the MAGA portion of it has done a very good job of hitting the public with that mentality. They are doing it straight from a playbook, and whether it's wrestling, whether it's whatever it is,
UFC. Yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah. It's very much.
whatever it is that they're following, the
Mm,
how do I say, the script that they're following,
yeah.
they're doing it because it's worked. Look at
Yeah.
WWE and how successful it is. Look at what it is. They have all of these cast of characters. They have these people who are able to pull reactions out of you. And I feel like the fact that it has gotten blurred together, where like we're living in that now. Like that's where we're at. People are entertained by that, and they feel that them showing that is them listening to the normal person. And I feel like you know, I feel like just the better party won because they have better marketing. It's not the better party. Wait, hold on. Hang
No, I
on.
know what you mean. No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Um, um,
They were able to
Thank you
tap
very
in.
much.
There's
No,
your win.
I know what you mean. They were able to tap in because they were studying and they understood what they needed to do better. And you're right, like they weren't the better party, but they were the better marketing party. And they just were. And I was watching it from here. I'm watching it from home base, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I was telling my boss, I'm like, a year ago, he's like, oh, no, 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 we'll be okay, and Trump will win again. And I'm like, oh no, it's happening. Like they've been building for like 4 years since the last loss, and now they know what to do correctly, and they know who to put into where. And I hate to say it, that in my own office building, um, uh, McMahon's wife, what's her name?
Linda.
Yeah, she actually works out of the floor that they kicked us out of. We had to move to another floor, and they were instrumental in putting in all of these horrible people in the new cabinet. So we were kind of watching it from the very beginning. We were like, oh no, 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 they know what they're doing this time. Last time it was kind of just like, oh, just throw whoever in, and that's why it was kind of a mess. This time they're very calculated, but they did have that marketing team, and they were getting to those little boys, especially those, at the time. And now they're like teenagers or whatever, old enough to vote.
Vote.
And and they got to them. And a big problem with the Democrats, and I'm a registered Democrat, is the fact that they lost their voice, they lost how to talk to people. They just they
Yeah.
they were they were super focused on social issues, that they didn't realize that they were losing people that were like, hey, everything's expensive. Like, you guys are focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so these Republicans, they figured out how to get their claws in there. And
Yeah.
a lot of it has to do with mental health. Again, it's like,
It does.
join our gang.
It does. And that also leads me now to like civic engagement and the importance of it. And
Yeah.
I do get asked a lot as to why I do talk a lot of politics on here. And right now that is probably the number one stressor in people's lives, whether you're
Yeah.
a political person or not. You're being
Yeah. Oh yeah.
affected by
Oh yeah.
everything going on, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
the worst thing that people can be doing right now is sitting back and not participating in local elections,
That's
not
right.
getting their voices out. And I
Yep.
think that it's such a funny thing because reading up for this and just doing my research and everything, civic engagement is number 1 for a stressor, right? Of stress and anxiety, but it is
Okay.
also number 1 for helping people with stress, anxiety, and depression because it gives you purpose. You start to work for people, you start to build your community, you start to going into these things. So it's just a really bonkers thing when people ask me, why do you talk about mental health and politics? And it's like, because it's in everything. Right.
That's hand in hand. That's hand in hand. I mean, like you're saying, I mean, even if people aren't political, they don't realize that it's affecting their mental health on a day-to-day basis. Uh, people are talking about prices of eggs and whatever groceries, and it's like, well, it's part of this whole ecosystem. Uh, um, yeah, it's bananas when people start getting upset when you're like, oh, you're getting too political. Well, you it's really affecting us right now. I mean, it's like a humongous part of all of our lives. And I know that back in the day, it used to not be as much. I mean, it always has been, but now that things have been going really, oof, I think that it's important, like, to talk about this, like, like this pod is very important. This podcast.
And I think that that's part of the aspect of it too, right? Is like back in the day, we didn't have to worry about being just ran over with social media posts because it didn't exist,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like you got whichever you got in the newspaper. If you had a family that sat down and talked about it, which was always number one faux pas, don't do that. Like if you had a family that spoke about it, it was
Yeah.
always kind of just in that little bubble. Like it always surrounded us, but it was always kind of like in its own little compartment. Now it's everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
I think of it as like a person who, being in the profession that I'm in, like I can't be overt with like, these are my politics, everybody, like you have to listen to what I say type thing, because
Yeah.
no one wants to listen to the sports guy that does that, right? And the
Yes.
thing is like whenever I'm posting stuff, or like I'll see a post and like I want to comment on it, and this could be like my friends from the military who don't think the same way I do, because Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, right? Like it's a
I know.
completely different world now.
Yeah.
I sit back and I have to be like, okay, I can't press send on this, because if I press send, then it becomes a thing and they got me
Yeah.
and like all this other stuff, right? So then that's where wanting to avoid politics starts messing in with
Mhm.
like your mental health and all that stuff too, because I, you want to get on, you want to scroll, you don't want to doom scroll, and it's like the second you watch 25 seconds of a TikTok of
Oh,
like
I know. Okay.
Jasmine Crockett doing something awesome,
Right.
the
Yeah. And
next
bravo.
thing you
Yes.
see, yeah, the next thing you see though is the opposite of Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God. And now you're just stuck in an endless loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stay off of TikTok. I don't do it. I try to not engage in it. It is
I fixed my
like
algorithm on TikTok.
that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say, right? Like so we're talking
Yeah.
about MAGA did the better marketing, but they also had all these tech people behind them, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
They
Elon
had
Musk.
all of
Yeah.
they had the algorithm. They knew exactly where to go, what to do. So I mean, I think it's just it's something that we made the bed. How do you say it? What's the saying? You
You
make
made
the
your bed and now you got to
night.
lie in it.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of what we're living in, and
Yeah. That's
I'm
true.
hoping
Yeah.
that and, like, on Instagram and everything, on posts, I see, like, what is it? This is the find out part. Like, you fucked around, now this is the time where you're finding out,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate,
Yeah.
that we're seeing some of these things, and I am a very empathetic person. I try to put myself in people's shoes, and I just don't have a lot of empathy for some of these things because it's like they wrote a book about what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
for it, Mike.
I want to give a shout out to Ryan Woodcraft, who just he won his election
Hey, Ryan.
with the SISD school board. So congrats to him. He's saying, "What's up, y'all? Sorry I am late."
Hey, no problem. Ryan, congratulations on a fantastic campaign that you ran. Eddie Ryan is he just won his seat for the SISD school board. But
Oh,
he's
lovely.
yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
a
Yeah.
libertarian. He is also a
Oh, okay.
veteran.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
he's been a big help with us here on the podcast with as far as information and things like that. And so
Great. Wait,
Ryan, congratulations. Go for it.
remind me. SISC. Socorro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Socorro.
Our so like
Okay, I
Montwood,
still
that whole
remember.
area.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. So I've been
We
living in DC for a very long time. I'm very happy for him, and also for me remembering that it was Socorro.
No, no, dude. Eddie's
No,
like
no, seriously.
Eddie's like, "I got out of there and I'm done."
No.
Well, also too, you gotta remember, we graduated in '99, so
99.
SISD
Yeah, sure.
wasn't as big as it is
No.
now. I mean, I think it was
Oh,
only
is
like
it? Okay.
Socorro. I think it was only
I,
like Socorro High School, Montwood,
Montwood. Yeah.
maybe
Americas.
one
Uh,
other.
America. Yeah.
I don't even think
Was
I think America's was a new school. Like
it was
I don't
brand new at the time,
Americas
but
Americas had their first graduation in 2000.
okay.
yeah.
So yeah, it
So
was
we were
part of
already
it.
out, yeah. So it's just like
Oh
so
wow.
so don't
Wait.
feel
So
bad, Eddie.
well, I'm just proud of myself. It expanded. I guess it
Yeah,
expanded.
so now there's three more high schools. East Lake, that's kind of in the Horizon area,
Okay. Oh
Cedar
yeah.
Hills in the far east side, and then El Dorado also in the far east side.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to this gentleman. Well deserved. Little fun fact. In like 2000, 2001, and when I had to find a job, I was a school bus driver for EPISD,
ISD?
yeah,
No way, really.
yeah, for high, yeah. I was the youngest school bus driver. I had the worst bus. They gave me the worst bus. It always broke down. But yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway,
They gave him the Model T of buses. Like he had to go
yeah.
out there and start it with.
Yes, dude. Oh my god. And it was stick shift too. And I'm like, nobody else has stick shift. And they were like, back at home base, because it was all retirees, they're like, ah ha ha ha. Good luck, kid. It's like, oh great.
Imagine now you give a kid stick shift, they'll be like,
Oh,
"What do
they
you
would
do
get
with
like,
this
what
thing?"
the hell is this thing? Yeah, I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. So I have a '08 Mustang, and I'm like, it's a
Ah,
manual transmission. I could leave that thing unlocked at a gas station
yeah.
anytime. No one's going to be able to take it.
Oh my god. I was just thinking about that. Like if I had a manual transmission here in DC, nobody, these kids, they wouldn't even know, because we have a little bit of a, it's a big city. Uh, there's some carjacking and stuff, like they wouldn't know how to do it. They wouldn't, they can barely ride the damn scooters.
Well,
Anywho, I digress.
right. No, but it's I mean, hey, we need to find comedy wherever we can, and we need
Yeah,
to have these light moments because it just feels like there's doom and gloom, right? So
yeah,
audience, again, we are live on different platforms. So if you have questions, please make sure you're putting them in the chat, because we really want to hear from you. We want to hit topics that you want to talk about as well. But in these times where it seems like, yes, we're talking MAGA, we're talking politics, we're talking all these things, it doesn't all have to be doom and gloom, right? There for We just tend to focus on the negative of everything. And this media, it plays directly into it because they put out all of the negative stuff, right? I feel like that's a we I talk I don't know why I keep going back to wrestling. But I talk about these
yeah.
not only, well, let's see. I've got
Everything behind Mike, I think.
yeah, I've got
Every
like my
single
Razor
thing.
Ramon. I've got my Razor
Oh,
Ramon back
Razor
there.
Ramon. Okay, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah, right there. Yeah,
but yeah, so it's a funny thing because we tend to um like toxic relationships, right? Toxic relationships are like so big right now, and not
yeah.
big in a good way. It's big where like people and kind of talk about it in a cute way, like la toxica. Okay, my Spanish is really bad, y'all,
Yeah,
so bear with me.
yeah,
That,
But you know
that
what I
was
mean?
pretty terrible. I thought I was going to
I
be the one that had the bad Spanish here.
yeah.
when Mike is correcting my Spanish, but
I was about to correct it, and I'm over here, gringo style
there you
in
go.
DC.
But you know what I mean? Like we are
Yeah.
into toxic relationships. I say wrestling because John Cena has turned heel. And it is one of these things that is just like he was like a loved character, he was always a good guy, hustle, loyalty, respect, all of these things, all these good qualities,
Yeah.
and people would say you suck. And now that he's turned heel, people are like, "Oh, hey." And they're giving him his props. but it's like we've gotten to a place in in our culture where we praise negative things. You know what I mean? And we find it funny and we find the humor in it and we downplay these things. And now it just seems like everything is kind of bubbling over, right? And that's why we cannot find balance because you're either on one side of the spectrum or the other. Whether it be you crave healthy relationships, you have a healthy relationship, or you're in these toxic relationships and you want these. How do you say it? Say the word for me so I don't say it again.
What are you
My
trying to say? Toxica.
toxic. Yeah, there you go. I said that. No, I didn't say that.
You're like El Toxica.
No. I need the loteria card so I
Yeah.
can read it.
Well, Ryan Woodcraft said that politics and wrestling, they go hand in hand because politics is like kayfabe, right?
Oh,
Like
for sure.
you have your personality,
Absolutely.
you turn it up all the way,
Yeah.
and you hope that people love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? This whole John Cena thing, I haven't been watching wrestling in a while. I do my whole like graffiti thing. I have a luchador,
Mhm.
persona, whatever. The thing is, I do understand what he's doing because he's on his way out. Isn't he like officially
Yeah.
like retiring? I have a feeling like he's gonna be like, just kidding at the end of it, like, and then he's I'm back to the good guy. But I do know what you're saying, Ashley. He's like, oh, you can't see me.
Mhm.
But I do understand what you're saying. And I do understand super hard because I do love the villain, like the villain. And I do because I have Darth Vader tattooed on my arm, and it also my favorite rapper, the super villain, MF Doom. I don't know if you all know MF Doom. Anyway, they're villains, but I do love the infamy. Like there is something sexy about that. So you do have a point, Ashley. What- Where I'm like trying to be good about like mental health and shit like that, but I carry this shit on my sleeves, literally. Like I just love it. I love certain
Well,
characters.
and like you if you I mean, going back to everything else, you can always find a villain story, but they start out in the worst of situations in some point, right? So like Darth Vader, like his story, it all goes back to like trauma,
Yeah,
abandonment issues, trying to find a place where they belong, not feeling like they've been heard, not feeling,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so people, of course, are going to gravitate to that because most people have some type of trauma,
yeah.
whether they deal with it or not. And it's one of these things where it's like, it doesn't have to be bad. Like we have a soft spot for these villains, right? Because I think this is what I do. Again, it's definitely the PTSD in my brain where I have the childhood trauma and stuff like that. So I
Yeah,
find
yeah,
empathy and the best in everybody, or I try to. And when you have those villains on your sleeves, you have a connection with something about them, right? And
yeah.
it doesn't have to just be a negative thing. And this is something that I say all the time is that there can be a gray area, and we just need to find it. We just need to
Oh, that's
find it.
very well said. That gray area is true. It is a gray area. I mean, it's not black and white. It really isn't. Even let's say talking about folks that have been in prison for certain things, like there's always more to the story than just, oh, you're a criminal. And we can have another episode on that alone.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, but yeah, no, you make a great point there.
Well, I
Yeah.
think a lot of it too is like we can identify more with the villain than we can with the good guy most of the time, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Because if we were given the chance, 99.9% of us would take the bad route. You know what I mean? Like it's so much
Yeah.
harder. It's harder to be the good guy. It's easier to be
Yeah.
the villain sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like just in anything. Like they could even be in like a family situation. You know you're wrong, but
Yeah.
you're gonna go to the grave being like, nah, I was right. I don't care if I know in my mind I was wrong. You're
Yeah.
wrong, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think people are like Eddie said, like with the John Cena thing, right? He turns heel, but now it's at the end of it, you kind of know that it's going to be the redemption story. We all love a
Yeah.
redemption story, and
Mhm.
that's kind of what what we are looking for, right? Like, I think what happened whenever you look at it in like the political realm is that they were villainizing, 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 villainizing. What do? We all find empathy with the villain, right?
Yep.
So that's what's ultimately happened is okay, now, man, are they really that bad? Because they say some things that I kind of like, right? Like whenever the Joker's sitting there and he's like, why he's so
Yeah,
serious?
you're right.
You're like, oh, you know what? That's pretty cool. Right. And that's kind of the way
Yeah,
that it's gone is just that little bit of like manipulation. And like obviously the pendulum's going to swing back this way because the people
yeah.
that are being villainized are on the left, and more
Mm.
people are going to be like, you know what, people should have equality and things like that. Like the
Right.
pendulum should
Yeah,
come back, and
yeah.
we'll like it ebbs and flows. It just sucks that we're on the downside of this roller coaster right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say the pendulum swinging because I do think about that a lot, but it seems like the pendulum is taking forever this time. Like it seems like it's going real high up, and we're gonna wait a minute for it to come back, and that's the thing is that it's like this, we all have to kind of have communication, talk about
Yep.
this, and that includes talking to people on the other side, being like, hey, look,
100%.
we can't villainize each other. It just never works out that way, and that's tough to do, especially when they are, doing stuff like deporting. It's just like really tough to try and talk to, I guess the other side, which I hate putting it like that too. That's not fair. The other side. We shouldn't look at each other as the others. We're all in the same
The
fucking
same.
boat. We're
Yep.
all in the same motherfucking boat. And, so it's tough to say that, but when they do it on a day-to-day basis and you're just like, it gets very tiring to hear it. And you're like, we want to work with you, but you guys are you're in power right now, and it's really tough to even talk to them at this point. It's
It
it's
is.
tough.
For sure,
It's
and
tough.
I think that we just listening and opening conversation, and like I said,
Yeah,
I don't have to agree with everything, that you believe. I don't have to agree
yeah,
with the things that are going on. I think
yeah,
honestly, deep down, people, feel the same way, and it's just once we can take out the ego and that
yeah,
reactiveness and trying to feel like I'm right, you're wrong.
yeah,
Once we can fucking stop that,
yeah.
we'll be
Yes.
we'll be on the way back up. I know that we have some comments, huh, Mike?
Yeah, so we got some comments over here on Instagram. Ryan Woodcraft saying everyone is the villain in someone else's story while being the hero in your own story.
It's
Uh,
true.
Death in a Hoodie podcast said Thanos felt like he thought clearer than everyone else did.
Yeah.
Ryan comes back and says perspective matters where principle is more important. And then
Yeah.
V Ortiz, PhD 77, said, thank you for doing this. So proud, Ashlee. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month.
Oh man, that's gonna make me cry. Thank you, Viti. That's my therapist, and man,
Oh, wow.
without you, Dr. Ortiz,
Yeah.
I might not be able to be sitting here doing this. And you might have noticed the shades come on, so you know what that means. Blurred vision. But yeah,
Well,
thank you
well,
guys.
let's praise our therapist. I'd like to praise my own
Please.
therapist, Ryan Schneider. I see him every week. Yeah, I couldn't navigate for a while back in 2019 or after that. It's like got the ship right. Yeah, yeah. I
They
love therapists.
Yeah, no, and like you said, 2019, that's probably around the time. Well, it took me longer to find one that would help me. And
Yeah,
I feel like regardless of the spaces that you're in, to those listening, you might not know that you need a therapist, but it just helps just to talk to somebody outside of your circle. It helps to talk to somebody who gives you a different perspective. And I feel like sometimes we are so hard on ourselves, that
yeah,
we're our worst critics. So being able
yeah,
to say these things to the
yeah,
therapist and for them to put it into perspective and say like, look, no, you this is not what it is. You're making it not making it more than it is, but this is a
Yeah.
you thing and you need to face it, right? Because I feel like a lot of times what happens in mental health is we don't talk about it. We don't discuss it. We can make fun of it and we can make fun of the things that are going on around it. But you can't talk about it. And I think that once you have somebody to bounce that off of, a third party, an outside party, it starts to help you kind of put your thoughts in order and it just kind of brings you peace. And I think that if you're in a situation right now where you just are feeling any type of way, whether it be so angry, if you're angry about politics, if you're angry or if you're scared and you're frightened and you just can't pinpoint what's making you scared or frightened, reach out to a therapist. Reach out to somebody in your local area. We do have resources like NAMI is a organization. I think you can dial 988 for some assistance as well. And I'll get the right names on there. I just have it far away, so I don't want to go too far forward. But please, guys, we just have to talk about these things and we have to open up the dialogue and be okay with hearing something that is not what you believe or not what you think. We agree here on a lot of things because you talk to like-minded people, but I want to hear opposite sides of it. I want to hear the other side because I want to understand
Yeah. Yeah.
why is it that you believed one side, or why is it that, like, who hurt you, right? Like what's going
Yeah.
on here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There I believe that, I truly honestly believe that as a people, we have more things in common than we do differences. We're just too fucking afraid to, like you guys said, admit it and to
Yeah.
talk about it. And us being able to do that is gonna just bring us back. And one example is on here locally, Eddie. I don't know, you're in DC, but I don't know if you follow Fit Fam, because that's
I do.
like,
I thought, oh my God, I
do
do
you feel
actually.
okay?
Yeah, I
So
do.
like
Yeah.
Fit Fam is like the local news source, right? That everybody goes to.
Yeah, I do.
But there was a post put out, I believe yesterday or the day before that, about a veteran who has been diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer.
Oh
Um,
man.
and her family or somebody had requested for them to do a ride. She likes cars and stuff like that, so they wanted to do a parade.
Sure.
And the city showed up and showed out for her. Man,
Oh
they
wow.
lined up
I
their
didn't see.
motorcycles, they lined up their old cars, and they showed up for her. And to
That's so
me,
sweet.
that just goes to show that if you have the empathy and compassion to show up for somebody when they're in that much of a need, then and that many people can agree on that, then there is so much potential for us to continue to grow and be better together. And I hope that just with us having some of these little talks here and there, that we're able to kind of ignite that into people's heads and say, like, look, let's work together. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
might not like
Yeah.
everything that you say. Uh I might
Yeah.
cannot stand you. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't have to like
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a place where you have to be
Yeah.
liked. Um I think us Synergy kids are a little bit different though, because we were in our own little hallway and maybe
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? So like we
We
learned to deal with it.
we were an experiment, and they kind of yeah, they tricked us into thinking different, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
You know.
it
Uh,
really is. But
uh,
yeah, I think again, thank you, Dr. Ortiz. Thank you, therapist. Death in a Hoodie.
yeah.
Death in a Hoodie podcast is a brother and sister duo that has their own podcast, and they do a lot of really cool conversations, very funny. Um, and yeah, I thank you guys, Death in a Hoodie, for tuning in, because we have been seeing a lot of support within the podcast community here locally. Um, and as a newcomer, with somebody who just had an idea and, you know, wanted to take this chance, I appreciate all the love that we've been getting from some of these other podcasts. Let's see, what is, I see Ryan has a thing on here. What does it say?
Ryan says that he's libertarian. He doesn't have any choice but to talk it out with all the other perspectives.
No shit.
That's pretty good.
And that's what I was going to say, right? Like we have to practice what we preach, and if we want other people to like get out of their echo chamber and actually,
Yeah.
listen to other people, then we have to do the same thing, right? And I think
yeah.
that that's always a hard thing for people to do is be like, look, I'm dealing with my own problems, but let me actually be here for you as well, right? Like that's doing the same thing. Like you want someone to be there for you, well then that
Yeah.
means that you need to be there for someone as well, right? And that's a tough message for people to hear because a lot of the times when we're going through our own stuff, I know I'm one of these people, right? Like I'm going through it. I don't give a fuck what you're going through. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I have my
Yeah.
own
That's
problems to deal with, but I also can't be that kind of a jerk. Like it's not right for me to be that way. I've got to make sure that I'm also there for people as well, that I'm open for people that they can look at me as like someone that they can come and talk to whenever they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's very difficult to do, especially in these very, very tough times. The libertarian can talk to, both sides, and that's fine and everything, but we're very tribal, and we stick to, our side. But again, this right here is very good. Like being able to be like, hey, we all need to talk to each other. Should kind of break through that bubble, because here in DC, just specifically here in DC, we have a blue bubble. We do. Most people here are Democrats. Yes, right now everything is Republican, but the city itself, we're very, very democratic, and we do have a bubble, and it does need to. Well, it's bursting currently, and so there does need to be more of a conversation. It's tough, and like Ashley said, I may not like you, but how else are we going to get through this? It's I what are we going to do? Another civil war? That's insane. That's not going to
Mm.
happen. Come on. Well, it might happen, but that's ridiculous. Like we can't do that.
And it goes along the lines of like you don't have to like someone to just respect them, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
comes down to is that people
Absolutely.
are no longer respecting each other. And
Yeah.
And
once
just a basic respect. Like there just used to be a basic, right? Like no, you
Yeah.
people who are in politics, teachers,
Yeah.
I hate the fact that in this time now we have gotten to a place where scientists, doctors,
I
teachers,
know.
educators, they are all those used to be revered positions, and we've seen such a decline. And yes, I'm all for being curious. I'm all for questioning. I'm all for these things, but when you're diminishing what somebody does based off of uh not full facts, they pick and choose here
Yeah.
and there what facts are just like both sides of the media. It just comes down to that.
But
But
also, we're talking about RFK Jr. specifically. Like, come on, like
no,
let's be real here.
well
Like,
it
goddamn
goes for
it,
everything, but yeah, I mean, even that, just
really.
just putting that out there, having these um what was his latest, the autism thing, that
Yeah.
discussion, that
Ooh,
conversation,
no, my
and it's
God,
one of
no.
these things where it's like you we used to have a level of respect. Positions used to be revered. You
Yeah.
used to ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was a doctor. What do you want to be? A teacher. I want to educate. Education, and I'm sure Ryan's going to have some stuff to say on this one, but education used to be about educating, learning. We talk about how we were in high school. We were basically an experiment and we learned in a different type of way. And now poor teachers are teaching to a test. They're
Yeah.
not able to have and Mike as well. Mike is a teacher as well. You guys are having to conform to these things, and if we could just have a baseline of respect instead of everybody saying, or what is the word, entitled, everybody's entitled, you have to earn my respect.
Yeah.
And I miss the days of when, like, it was just kind of a thing where, like, yeah, you have like this level, this much respect for me, and then let's see where we go from here. Like,
and
can we just start with a
Yeah.
grain?
that's
Yeah.
always the
Yeah.
question that I have for people too, right? Because I'm like I'm super weird in like my political journey on things, right? Is like I'm
Yeah.
a very conservative person, but that party has moved so far to the right that I am now a liberal person. As crazy as that is, right? Like I believe in the death penalty and that my gay friend should be able to get married. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? But but like all of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, well, I don't respect people that have those liberal views, but I really respect our veterans and our military." Well, then where do I lie
Uh,
now? Because I'm both. Like I have
yeah.
like I am the paradox here. Well, you're different. Well, there's a lot of people that think like me. Like why is it that we have to be put into these little boxes for you to give me like a little bit of respect? Well, you're not like a normal veteran. H-
Well,
How? Like what is a normal veteran? Like please.
and that's the thing. We're all very complex as humans. As humans, not even just veterans, whatever, wrestlers, whatever. We're all very complex people. We all have very our lives have made twists and turns, and like you just said, as a conservative, now you're liberal. I used to hold very hardcore conservative views. When I was a little younger, but I'm a liberal now. But it doesn't make me completely. It's like we're all very, we adjust
That's
to
funny
okay.
that you say that you were conservative too, Eddie. Like, or we had more
Yeah, I was all.
conservative views, right? Same
I
here.
did.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
the
did.
the same way, and it's just um people's minds just like exploded. Like, what? All these libs talking about anti-MAGA,
Well, yeah. I mean,
and it,
well,
Because like all of us at a certain point, like we all just believed in the decency of people, right? Like
yes,
yeah,
treat people the
absolutely.
way that you want to be treated, and somehow, some way, that just
Yeah,
evaporated. I can't say somehow, some way. We know why it
we know
yeah,
evaporated.
why.
yeah,
It's just it's a shame that it's
yeah,
evaporated because
yeah,
now it's okay. Not only am I going to try to take the rights away from you, I want to take more things away from you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now I'm going
yeah,
to vilify you, and I'm going to do this
yeah.
and that. And it's like it just shouldn't be that way.
Well, and
Well,
like for me, I'm sorry, Eddie, go ahead.
no, 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 go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so like what I was gonna say, like for me specifically, I I haven't really talked too much about this on the podcast, a little bit, but am I care I the way that I see it is I gave I chose to be a stay-at-home mom, right? A traditional type of traditional, right? Tradition, that word just is not what I'm trying to say, but like mom, I stay at home, I take care of the kids, I take care of my husband, I make sure that he has meals when he comes home. And even that has been kind of vilified in a way. It's like anti-feminist and
Yeah,
anti this and that.
yeah,
And no, man, it's just I wanted to when I when my husband and I had kids, it was like, no, look, we want to give them a different life than what we were able to that what we experienced. And so for me, I'm a person who if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all in. And it was about my kids and my husband. And it's crazy to me that just that part of my life is sometimes vilified
yeah.
or you get called like they said the word the other day, trad wife or something. I'm like, what?
Wait, what is that?
Like a
I don't think I've
traditional,
heard
it's
that.
like the
Oh,
traditional,
trad. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
like
trad wife.
traditional,
Okay.
yeah,
All
they can't
right,
even finish
fine.
the
Yeah,
word. But yeah.
yeah,
So like I'm like I guess I'm trying to say like the 1950s moms like
yeah,
Lucille Ball, Cunningham, like that was how I envisioned myself as a parent, as a wife. And of course, it's more like Lucille Ball and just crazy and chaotic. But it is something that I hold dear to my heart and I'm very proud of. And I don't say that a lot that I'm proud of myself for things, but for me, uh doing that and wow, just had a freaking light bulb moment. I don't know if VD's still on, but or Dr. Ortiz is still on, but she's gonna probably see a big old light bulb. But yeah, like I'm proud of myself for that because I know that I've done that. And it's crazy to me that it's been one of those things that was vilified. Not vilified so much, but like anti-feminist, and
Yeah.
you're holding the movement back, all that kind of stuff.
No, I think that's great. I love that you're like bold enough to be like, hey, fuck it. I don't care. Like if you're happy, like that's what it's about, right? Like if you all are happy, like what's so bad about it? I've always hated that too. Like villainizing things that make you happy. I just don't, yeah, like especially something like that, it's yeah, like it is. And I know that the left does it a lot. They're like, oh, you're holding back the movement. It's like, well, I don't think so. I mean, families work in various ways. Like certain people take certain roles, or they work together. They work together to make
E-
sure that the team works. I mean, so whatever you got to do, you got to do. Like it doesn't really, it's not
exactly.
so bad. It's not so bad.
I
Exactly.
think
It's changing it.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's the issue, right? Is like you have sides where it's like, oh, if you're not doing these traditional roles, then you're the bad person or whatever. And then if you are doing the traditional roles, you're the bad person. Like it's just like
it
you
doesn't
can't
matter.
make everyone happy. And that's
Yeah,
our mindset is like we would just want to make people happy. And instead of focusing on the other people, we should just focus on it. Like it's okay to be a little selfish every now and again. It's all
yeah,
right.
of
You
course.
deserve to
Yeah,
be selfish every now and again.
yeah. And it reminds me again, because I'm such a sitcom boy. It reminds me of Modern Family. I don't know if you guys ever seen Modern Family. No, nobody here. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've seen Modern Family, and I take
there,
go
there,
ahead, and then I'll tell you what I think of.
there's so many different roles in every single family in that family.
Yeah,
Like what you kind of were saying. It's like doesn't really matter who does what. Like they're all just trying to fucking be happy. And shit, while
yeah.
being fucking hilarious. Anyway.
And all and beautifully messed up in a way, but no, I for me
Yes.
the my for me my issue with sitcom moms in particular, and it's not even probably the moms, it's the writers, and this is something that
It's the writers, yeah. It's
and
fuck
it's
their mind.
something that I because of course when I was in that deep depression and all of that, I binge watched all of these Modern Family, all of these moms, King of Queens, she's not a mom on the show, but like all of these wife roles, right? And the way that they write for women is just
Yeah, wow.
pisses me
You're
off
right.
so much because while
That's
they
true.
are the glue to the family, right? Shit's going left and right crazy, and the moms are just kind of trying to hold it together. They put it in such a nagging, annoying way that you're like, what? Like, no. And
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
look, I'll turn around and I'll look at BJ. I'm like, am I that bad? And he's like, no. He might
You
just
know
be
what?
saying no,
You,
but
you do have a point about that. That it's the writers that write the women characters. They are always kind of naggy, and it's like that's not really how. Like my mom wasn't like that.
they're
I
they're
mean,
either very naggy, very controlling, and I agree with the controlling. I agree with the nagging, but it's a lot of very putting down the husbands and getting the laughs and
well,
stuff
okay.
like that, which I get it. I get comedy. I
Well,
love comedy.
okay.
I get that.
But it's because it's male writers only. I mean, like for a
Oh,
long
that
time,
makes sense.
it's only been male writers. I mean, honestly, like, and yes, well, for the most part, like a lot of the ones that I like, they were done well. They didn't have enough female writers to be like, hey, this isn't like totally correct, which has changed recently, I guess. Like, there's now, like
Well, now you
Abbott
have like the
Elementary
third,
shows.
like you were talking about you were talking about 30 Rock. So like the
Yeah, that's
Tina
it.
Fey, Amy
Tina
Poehler,
Fey, and yeah. They bring
what's
in.
her name?
They knew
Mindy
how to
Kaling.
indicate. Yeah. Oh
They
my God. Yeah.
This new show that she just did with Kate Hudson. Oh, fuck, I can't think of the name of
Oh,
it.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's the
Yes. Yeah.
basketball one. But yeah, I mean the way
Yeah.
that they
Yeah. I know
wrote
what you're
for
talking about.
her,
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
writing. So I know it's coming. I know that it has changed, but it's just funny because as a person who likes to binge watch old sitcoms, I
Yeah.
still relate more to those 1950s sitcoms. Like uh the Lucy's, Mother
Lucy.
Knows
Yeah.
Best, Father Knows, even the Father Knows Best is a good one. The
That's a good
Donna
one.
Reed
Yeah.
show, Like all
Yeah.
those shows I watch, and I just feel more of a connection to it. But yeah, we totally digress.
Yeah.
'Cause we got into
Yeah.
sitcoms.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. We
I
there.
can talk sitcoms, I can talk TV, wrestling. I won't say sports because Michael turned his nose up at me.
Yeah, he just did it.
Just
I
because I
think he just did
see?
it right
Oh,
now.
I was like, when does this happen?
No, it's only when I'm talking about the Eagles, that's all, that's it. I
That's
give him
because
credit.
they're gross.
See?
They're disgusting. That's why.
But, yeah, so, I know, Eddie, that we did talk about, like, the civic engagement was something important that you wanted to discuss. I know we hit on it, quite a bit. Was there any other topics that you wanted to kind of throw out there and that we haven't really touched on yet?
No, I think that, I mean, we really talked about everything that I wanted to talk about, especially the fact that there is a link between, what's going on politically and, with mental health, and, and I think that needs to kind of continue to be a conversation piece with even your own family,
For
as hard
sure.
as it is to, Thanksgiving style, like it just needs to be a thing, that it's like a hard thing that needs to be talked about, because we're in the middle of something that's like going to change. Well, it's already changing everything, for a long time. And
Yeah.
it is very much connected to mental health, and the mental health of all of us, and I think that we covered that for sure. And it's kind of the whole reason I wanted to do this with you, you all, you both of you. um you know and yes, be nice to your graffiti artists, your local be nice to your tattoo artists. That's all. That's the only other thing you got to say. uh, but
Yeah,
yes.
no, for sure. I think I applaud, you doing the arts. I feel like arts is also one of those things being attacked currently, in
Oh yeah.
schools and things like that. And, you know,
Yeah.
the graffiti
Yeah.
artist, well, I mean, I have a special place in my heart for the I it was
And
never art. It
it's
was
not,
never
I
art.
mean, it's not considered art, but it is. But okay, but like just a real quick one, uh Trump and them attacking the Smithsonian and the Kennedy Center, that's some Nazi shit. Like, I'm just gonna go out and say it. Like, they're really attacking artists, but they're doing that on purpose, because that's how you, like, art is really how you get into the psyche of society. And this is an institution. The Smithsonian, the Smithsonian museums and the Kennedy Center have been, you know, an institution for art, and just art alone. It's never really super political, and now it's being attacked because they're doing something here, and I don't want to get too much into it, but it is right out of Hitler's playbook. That's
Yeah.
how that's what I want to leave. I feel very strongly about art as an artist, as a I went to school for this shit. They are doing something very, very dangerous. Obviously, everything else is very, very scary, but this is going to last for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you control the narrative, whether
Yeah,
it's through art, whether it's through the media, whether it's through any of that stuff. I mean, pick up a history book. We've
yeah,
seen
Mm.
this happen before,
right.
right?
That's right.
And
Yep.
and even going down to the round table of tell me how amazing I am for the first 100 days that I've had. Tell me how great it is. And on
Yeah,
NBC the other day, where it's, oh, yeah, the economy's bad. That's the bad Joe Biden economy. The good things of the economy, though, are because of me. Well,
yeah,
you got
yeah.
to take all of it. Like, there's zero accountability here, and the blame
Hmm.
is getting pushed off. I wonder where we saw that before in the 1930s.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah. Let's look
and
back. Yeah.
art is bad until it's, AI putting, the president in a pope, outfit,
Oh,
right? So
right.
that's the only
And
time
then he's
art is okay.
and he's okay with it. That's
Mhm.
fine,
Oh,
right?
he
Like,
he
that's okay.
praised it, and
I
He,
that's
looked,
okay,
he's
so
I looked amazing in those robes.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay. That's
Uh,
that's kind of what I wanted to leave this. Everybody, please respect your artists and make sure that you're understanding that, like, this is a dangerous thing, especially with the art. That's where they get in there.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I thank you, Eddie, for coming on. Mike, was there anything else that you wanted to hit on?
No, just be there for each other. Don't be afraid to um to talk, right? Like if you're going through the motions, don't sit there and think that you have to do it alone. Like I'm guilty of this myself, right? Like you have a support group. No matter, who you are, you can find somebody out there. There is going to be somebody out there that is willing to listen to you, willing to let you cry, and sometimes if you just need to bitch about something, get it off your chest. Like you don't need to have,
Yeah.
don't need to be with that all the time. And then the Death in the Hoodie podcast said, "Holy shit, that's a good impression." Thank you very much.
It's pretty good. That's not bad.
I've been
But
working on
you've had some time to work on it. But no, yeah, those of you who have tuned in for this live stream, I appreciate you for tuning in. I'm hoping this month we're able to try to get a couple more in because I do think that it's important that we're having these discussions about mental health. Again, just like Eddie and Mike have said, talk to people, reach out. I say it all the time on the podcast and on my social media. Reach out to me at talking about it. If you don't know what you're feeling, if you're like, hey, I don't know what's going on here, I may not have the exact answer because my journey is going to be different from everybody else's, but I know where I can get you a resource and I know where I can help you to find those resources. So please make sure that you are reaching out. As far as therapy, I think therapy is very important. You can go to nami.org, NAMI.org. If you're looking for a therapist as well, there's BetterHelp. I actually have tried BetterHelp for online therapy, and it was a very good start. Oh, I just barely saw right here where the comments pop up, Mike.
Well, so
Sorry.
they're different, like, YouTube and Facebook and a bunch of other places will allow it to be on the stream itself, like the platform for the stream,
Got it.
but
Sorry, that was
Instagram, for whatever reason, Instagram doesn't let it come over here for whatever, so
oh, okay.
I monitor, like, 15 different things at one time.
No, and thank you for that, Mike. I do appreciate that as well. But yes, people, reach out, trybetterhelp.com. 988 also is a line that you can dial to. You can also send text there. But you definitely just open up the conversation. If you're scared, if you're feeling numb, if you're feeling sick. I know sometimes because science has been so beat up recently, and you don't want to go to doctors, reach out. Googling sometimes is not the best thing to do, so I would not advise to do that. But reach out, ask for help. And just open up the dialogue. For anybody listening who might be on the other side of things where we are discussing when it comes to politics, please reach out, come on the show. We'll send you a link so that you can hop on and we can have these conversations because the only way that we're going to move forward is if we're able to find common ground. And we just need to put the fucking effort in. We need to stop with these 15-second clips and we need to stop with these little things. And we need to really put in work. It's the same that goes with any relationship that you have. You have to put in the work in this time where we're so with instant gratification. like like we
Yeah.
have to put in work. So if you've tuned in for this hour and 15 minutes, I appreciate you. Eddie, thank you for coming on. Mike, as always. I have a new episode out. All my new episodes drop on Tuesdays morning at 6 a.m. So you can catch them. Sometimes they're short because I will be freaking out literally while we're filming, but I still want to make sure that I get stuff out to you. This whole time I've been in a full panic mode. And why do I say that out loud is because I want you guys to see that regardless if you have mental health issues, regardless if you have panic attacks, whatever it is, you can still move forward. You don't have to be stuck in it. And
Yeah.
it's a very difficult thing. It's not easy. This has taken me like a year of work And so I'm not trying to say that it's easy. Anybody can do it. I'm not trying to minimize what you're going through, but I do like to share. I'm in full panic mode right now, and
Well, I just want to say thank you both for having me. This has been a pleasure, and I'm so happy that I was able to, you know, express what I wanted to express. And yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
no, thank you. So everybody, again, thank you. We will drop a new. We have new episodes out. Follow us at Talking About It. Mike does have his sports show. Plug that, Mike.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, you can watch it on Roku, on social media, on all my different social media channels. I'm Mr. Tippin 33 on all those. It's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Mountain Time, so that's 10 a.m. Eastern for the people that are watching over on the East Coast. It's not your typical sports show, so be prepared to have a lot of weird impressions about weird people because it's kind of what I do best.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out, for tuning in, and keep on talking about the shit that nobody wants to talk about. And we'll see you on the next one. Eddie, hang back, please.